About half a year after getting married, an event struck my life out of the blue. I was saddled with caring for my father-in-law, who became bedridden after an accident. As I struggled with caregiving for the first time, my husband said to me,
"You handle my dad's care. We're going to relax in Hawaii."
He and my mother-in-law left for Hawaii, leaving me behind. But they were unaware of the tragedy their decision would later cause. My name is Adeline. I'm 30 years old. I've always loved cooking, so after college, I joined a major restaurant chain. 8 years in, I'm now in charge of developing new products in the planning department. I met Will, who would later become my husband, 2 years ago. I happened to go to my favorite bar alone, and since it was full, I was seated at the counter next to Will. We struck up a conversation through the bar's owner and found out we were the same age. Our chat quickly blossomed, and we ended up exchanging contact information. Since then, Will would regularly ask me out for meals, and we started dating. I found myself drawn to his bright and funny personality, and it seemed he felt the same. Our relationship naturally progressed, and after dating for a year, we tied the knot 6 months ago. Currently, we're enjoying newlywed life in an apartment halfway between our workplaces. Both of us working means sometimes skimping on housework, but he always said with a smile,
"Don't worry about the housework being perfect. I'm happy just being with you, Adeline."
I wish I had time to make a proper dinner, though.
"Oh, it's fine. Just having dinner with the person I love is happiness enough for me. That's what I think."
Thanks. You're always so kind, babe.
Only to you, honey. I want to be super kind to the person I love.
That makes me happy. I'm so glad I became your wife.
Me too. Having a wife like you makes me super happy.
Even half a year into our marriage, our relationship was so good that we could have such conversations. I thought our happy days would continue forever. But those happy days suddenly became out of reach. One day, when I came home from work, Will was already in the living room. Usually, whoever gets home first would greet the other. But the atmosphere was strangely heavy that day. He was frowning at his phone, and I tentatively spoke to him. "Hey, you. I'm home. Is everything okay?"
"Hi, babe. Welcome back. I was just zoning out."
You looked really worried. Did something happen?
"Well, I just got a call from Mom."
From your mother?
"Dad had an accident."
What? I was so shocked. I couldn't quite process his words. But we couldn't just sit around at home. I held his hand and said, "What are you sitting around for? We need to go to your dad right now."
"No, we can't right now."
"Why not?"
"Dad's not in a state to be seen right now."
You mean his condition is really bad?
"Yeah, Mom says she'll stay with him until he settles down. So we don't need to go."
Oh. His words let me know there was nothing I could do at the moment. I let go of his hand and sat down on the sofa as well. I hope he's okay. Will remained silent. His silence only amplified my anxiety. Just the other day, my father-in-law, Derek, has celebrated his 65th birthday. He always took care of his health and was the picture of wellness, going hiking and golfing on weekends. He runs a company, and my husband works for him. It must be tough for him to see his father, who's also his boss, like this. He was incredibly down that day, which was hard to imagine, given his usual cheerfulness. A week later, we were finally able to visit Derek. As Will and I headed to his hospital room, he lay there with a weak smile. "Derek, how are you feeling?" He scratched his head apologetically in response to my question.
"Oh, Adeline, I feel bad that I've made you guys worry."
"Don't be silly. I'm just relieved that you're safe."
Huh, it's nice to hear you say that. I can talk, slowly but surely. I'm okay.
"I'm glad. But please, take it easy for a while, okay?" His face lit up with joy at my words. Seeing his smile, I felt a bit relieved. It seems the accident damaged his spinal cord, and he still has some paralysis. The plan for treatment is to stay in the hospital for about 2 months of rehab, and then see how things go. He'll need regular rehab after he's discharged. While he is away, Will take over as the acting president of the company. Although it's only temporary, the idea of my husband becoming the president feels strange. As I watched the guys talk, my mother-in-law Paulina appeared in the hospital room. She called me over to the corner of the room and spoke to me with a tone dripping with sarcasm. "Hey, Adeline. You do understand your place, don't you?" What do you mean?" "Well, just because Will is becoming president doesn't mean you'll have it easy. Understand? Don't get too comfortable with him being in that position. Okay?" "There's no need to worry about that. I work and earn my own salary. Thank you." We'll see about that. After all, you approached Will knowing he was the son of the president, didn't you? Shame on you." She scoffed at me, casually tossing out such accusations. But that was just her imagination, not the truth. I found out Will was the president's son well after we started dating. From the beginning of our marriage, Paulina has consistently treated me with this kind of disdain. I didn't want to be disliked based on a misunderstanding, so I corrected her on the spot. "Paulina, I didn't approach him for his money. I fell for him because of who he is as a person." "Sure. Like I believe anything that comes out of your mouth." "I'm telling you the truth. You got the whole thing wrong." "Whatever. No matter what you say, I will never approve of you." "How could you say that?" Perhaps, noticing our conversation, Derek asked,
"What's going on?"
She dismissed it with a "nothing" and glared at me. It was clear from her behavior that she doted on Will. She probably sees me as a gold digger who got close to her son for his money after just a year of dating. She has been cold to me since we went to greet her for her marriage. But to think she would speak to me like this, even with her husband in this condition? To complicate matters, my husband is also very fond of his mother. A few days later, he suddenly said something unexpected.
Adeline, Dad's probably going to be discharged from the hospital in 2 months. That's when we're moving back to my folks' place.
Wait a minute. Why all of a sudden?
Mom suggested it. She said it's about time we all live together. Come on, you know it would be tough on Dad if Mom's by herself, right?
Yeah, but springing this on me all of a sudden is a bit much.
What are you talking about? We should be grateful. Mom's offering for us all to be together.
I struggled to find the words to express what he meant by grateful. I stood there, perplexed, while he firmly stated his case.
Anyway, it's already been decided. Start packing so we're ready to move in together.
Hold on. If we move to your family's place, our commute will become a hassle. We specifically chose an apartment midway between our workplaces for a reason.
It's only about a 15-minute drive from the house. If anything, it's closer for you. You're lucky.
It seemed that he and his mother had already settled the matter of living together. Despite my repeated attempts to put off the idea, he never listened to what I had to say. Recently, he had become more devoted to his mother than ever before. At the same time, his attitude toward me had grown increasingly harsh with each passing day. Today was no different, as he came to me with another nagging lecture.
Hey, how's the packing going? I can't take time off on moving day, so you'll have to cover for me, okay? You'll also handle the caregiving and the housework. Don't put any strain on Mom.
The stress of moving preparations, along with a peak period at work, was taking a mental toll on me. 2 months later, we successfully moved, and Derek was discharged from the hospital. But without a moment's rest, I was thrust into the unfamiliar world of caregiving. I woke at 4 a.m. to prepare breakfast and do the laundry. Once that was done, I would hurry to help Derek with his morning massage and getting dressed. I had to eat before Will and Paulina, and right after finishing, I helped Derek with his meal. Only after everyone had breakfast could I finally head to work. Despite my efforts in caregiving and household chores, it seemed I could never satisfy Paulina. Every morning, as I tried to leave for work, she would invariably hold me back. Adeline, dear, could I have a word? I'm sorry, I really need to get going. Don't you get smart with me, young lady. I wanted to express some concerns about breakfast. I'll listen when I get back, but for now, I really must. Don't talk back to me. Sit down. But please, sit down now. With her shout, I started getting a throbbing headache. Lately, every unreasonable lecture from Will or his mother triggered palpitations and headaches. Responding would only make matters worse, though. Remaining silent was the quickest way to end the confrontation. Because of her lectures, I was always nearly late for work. Having never been late before, my colleagues began to express concern. 3 months had passed since Derek's discharge, and my days were busier than ever. After returning from work, I had to immediately start preparing dinner. One evening, rushed by the lack of time, Will criticized the meal I hurriedly put together.
Hey, Adeline. What the hell is this? I come home tired and this is what I get?
I'm sorry, I had to step away to wash Derek, so I just made stew.
Ugh. Make something more substantial next time, will you?
Paulina just smirked at my silence. Feeling dejected, I went to help Derek with his evening routine. Noticing my demeanor, he expressed concern.
Adeline, dear, you don't look well. Are you alright?
Oh, yes, I'm fine. Just a little busy with work.
Are you sure that's all? I've been hearing a lot of shouting from my wife and Will.
It's all my fault. I'm just not very efficient at things.
Well, I don't see it that way.
To keep him from worrying, I forced the biggest smile I could manage and lied. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to keep it together. Honestly, I wanted to escape from here for so long. But now I kept thinking, what would happen to him if I left? With that thought, I just couldn't bring myself to abandon everything. As the end of the year approached, I got some time off from work, but that just meant I was stuck with more chores at home. It was on New Year's Eve that Paulina dropped a bombshell.
Mom and I are going to Hawaii.
What? Hawaii?
Yeah, Mom and I have been planning this.
Wait a minute. How can you even think of that with your dad in this condition?
It's fine. You're here, right? You're off work. You can handle it.
My husband and his mother had this smug look on their faces as they showed off their huge suitcases. They seemed to find my bewildered state amusing, barely holding back their laughter. On the day of the trip, as they were leaving the house, Will casually said,
Take good care of Dad. We're going to chill in Hawaii. Good luck on your own.
They laughed and closed the door behind them. That's when something inside me just snapped. Good luck? Take care of him? What is he even talking about? Why do I, the daughter-in-law, have to do everything by myself? That's it. When they get back, I'm definitely getting a divorce. I felt much better when I said that to myself, and I decided to devote myself to caring for Derek while they were gone. Since I was going to get a divorce anyway, I didn't bother with the housework. The next day, as usual, I prepared breakfast for Derek and took a towel and clothes to his room. That's when he greeted me with a smile.
Happy New Year, Adeline.
Happy New Year to you too, Derek.
Where are Will and Paulina? It seemed like there was some trouble last night.
They went on a trip to Hawaii.
Hawaii?
He asked, a look of confusion spreading across his face, followed by a deep sigh. I didn't know how to respond, so I stayed quiet. Then, unexpectedly, my bedridden father-in-law sat up. What in the world?
Let's get started. Adeline, I owe you an apology.
Wait. Are you sure you're okay?
I've been able to get up by myself for a few days now. I was just waiting for the right time to show everyone. I never thought those two would give me such a perfect opportunity.
What do you mean? Then he started to explain with a sly grin. Apparently he had been trying to do something about the situation where I was the only one being overworked. He'd asked his wife and son for help, but they completely ignored him. Moreover, he received a call from the company's executive vice president, reporting that my husband, who was acting as president, was doing whatever he wanted. It seemed likely that they used company funds for their trip. So, Derek got in touch with people at the company and had them monitor my husband's actions. It turned out that his work attitude was lazy, and the employees were all angry. Derek was planning to return as president after the new year, and my husband was going to be demoted back to a regular employee. But after this incident, Derek decided to fire him. Regarding the house, it was actually in my father-in-law's name. He'd made plans to change the locks while they were away, so when they returned, they wouldn't be able to get in. A week later, there was a ruckus at the front door and the intercom started buzzing non-stop. My husband and his mother had returned from Hawaii and were trying to force the door open. I responded to them through the intercom monitor. "Welcome back. How was the trip?"
Adeline, you're home? I can't get the door open. Open it quick.
"Sorry, but I can't. Your father told me not to let you in."
What? What are you talking about?
"So, did you guys have a good time on that trip, funded by the company's money?"
What? How did you...
Will, with a look on his face that screamed,
How do you know about that?
left me unable to help but burst into laughter as I watched their expressions on the monitor. Just then, Derek, who had been listening in, chimed in.
Aha, just as I thought. You did use the company's money, didn't you? Dad? I thought you couldn't get up. Thanks to Adeline, I've been getting help with my rehab from Adeline every day. I've been able to get up for a few days now. I've also heard about your terrible behavior at the company from the executive director. The executive director? You're kidding, right? No, that's not true, Dad. I didn't. You didn't what? You're incompetent, and you're fired. Pack your stuff and leave the company now.
Will started to plead with tears in his eyes, visible through the monitor.
Adeline, honey, you wouldn't abandon me, right?
To his pleading, I stated firmly, "Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how I've felt since the day you decided we would move in here? You and your mother took me for granted, pushing his care onto me. Do you understand how hard that was for me?"
Calm down, Adeline. I'm sorry, I'll apologize.
Your apologies are worthless. It became clear to me when you all left for that trip. Being a family with you is just a waste of time. I'm going to live on my own. I've had it with a mama's boy like you. At my words, he stumbled backward, but his mother supported him immediately. The scene was a pitiful display of a mother and son. They kept screaming, "Open the door," but Derek never responded to their pleas. With the help of the lawyer contracted by Derek's company, our divorce was finalized. Since then, I haven't seen them. Rumor has it the mother and son duo both are unemployed and unable to rent a place, living in cheap motels and picking up day labor. It's a far cry from their previous lives, but well-deserved punishment, if you ask me. After the divorce was finalized, Derek said to me, "I'll hire a housekeeper, so go live your life." Taking him up on his offer, I moved closer to my workplace. Now I spend my days comfortably and fulfilled. I can never thank my father-in-law enough for saving me. Somehow, someday, I intend to repay this kindness.